Noona Talk.
I'm Zara, and this week is very interesting because we have a lot of K-pop to get through.
Hi, I'm Sophia, and yeah, we have so much to talk about. We have live concerts to talk about. That's a first. Woo!
Ooh.
But before that, remember we are Noona Talk. We are a podcast that talks about K-pop, K-drama, K-music, K-food, K everything that includes being K-beauty too. Yeah, and anything else that includes being a K-stan, especially a Desi fan. And you can find us on Instagram and follow us there. And this is our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon Podcast, wherever you find podcasts. That's about it. Anything
Yeah,
else?
we do weekly podcast episodes where we talk about something specific, but we also do a lot of reactions. If there's anything you want us to react to, you can always DM us on Instagram or comment on our videos.
We
Uh,
also do a really fun podcast series called K drama or K flop, where we watch the first episode of K dramas and rate them, whether we want to watch them or not. So check that out as well.
yeah.
Is it time to talk about it now?
Yeah, let's talk about my weekend. Whee!
Ooh.
I managed to go and watch my first ever K-pop concert, which is
Ooh.
insane. It's still there. Wait, it's still there. Zico freak is
Oh yeah.
on
So where did
my
you go?
what?
Where did you go?
Oh, okay. So I went to go watch the K Fest festival in Abu Dhabi, which was held by Hyperound. And I basically wanted to go only to watch like Zico and Loco. And then
Yeah.
eventually then they started announcing the lineup. JB was also there, which was a major plus. Then they said Peak Boy was also coming. And I was like, what? Then Woogie was also coming. I was like, what? Which makes sense that like Woogie, Loco, and Zico travel together.
Zico is not really like in their stick though.
That's true, but Woogie and Loco, yeah.
JB makes sense.
JB as well, yeah.
Mm.
But there were more. There was Paul Kim, there was
Mm-hmm.
Dawn, P1Harmony, and CK.
Mm-hmm.
I think
The
that's all of
Rose also.
the Rose, sorry, the
Yeah.
Rose. Um and this was a great way for me to like listen to a lot of them because I feel like I knew about the Rose and I knew
Mm-hmm.
CK, but I hadn't listened to their music. So it was a great way for me to like listen to their discography because I didn't want to go to a concert and not know their
No.
music.
Yeah. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
But it was overall an incredible experience. I think I really lucked out fortunately where I had good seats with good viewing. But when Zico came on, the way I pushed everyone aside so that I could be at the barricade. I think Sophia and I, we've talked about this in the past whenever we've talked about wanting to go to concerts. And I've always said that I want to be close enough that when they throw the water, I get wet. Like I need that.
Mission accomplished.
Oh, yeah, no, Zico threw water, my hair was wet, and that's all that ever mattered in my life. I have now been baptized. Um, if you should go follow us on Instagram at Noona Talk, so because I have been
Posting
posting a
about
lot
it.
of reels and giving my POV of the actual event.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But
solo
yeah, quick
concert.
review. What was it like?
Paul Kim, very cute and very like incredible ballad singer. Like I really didn't know much about his work before the announcement of this festival. It was great. Peak
Mm-hmm.
Boy, literally the cutest. He came out and read like Salam Alaikum off of his hand. Like he had it written down. He had his entire intro meant done. So he read it off his hand and he was so cute. Dawn is I think the smallest person I have ever seen in my life. Like he was this small. Like I could have put him in my pocket and run away and nobody would have realized. P1 Harmony was a little bit of a letdown because
That was
I
very
don't
surprising for me, honestly.
me as well because I watched
Mm.
their KCON performance on
Hmm.
YouTube and like Twitter and everything. And some of their music is so like Doo Doo Doom and like Black Hole are such intense songs, but I don't know, maybe they were just tired, I guess. I
Could
really
be.
don't
They've
know.
been touring and doing KCON and like a lot
They
of festivals.
have,
Yeah.
and they're performing in Riyadh at the end of the month as well. So they
Oh,
maybe
okay.
they were just tired, or they were like
Could
chota
be.
set hai, I don't know.
Hmm.
A little lackluster.
Okay.
The Rose were fantastic. My only sort of qualm about their performance was that they were back on the main stage. So there was a lot
Mm,
of like, empty space up ahead. So I think you missed out on like connecting with them.
yeah.
But they were incredible. Like they just changed the energy. Like there was a certain energy that was going on, and the rose came on, and it really just made it a different vibe. Woogie was spectacular. The only problem, okay, with Woogie, he came like this, went on his turntable, and did not look up. Like in the last maybe 3 minutes of his set, he looked up and like made eye contact with some crowd over there, and they all went woo, and he went oh, and then like waved at them.
That's really funny.
Oh my god, he just did not look up. Like it could have been anybody there. अगर कैमरा zoom in नहीं करा होता तो पता ही नहीं चलता.
Mm.
सीके को 100% बोला कि कपड़े मत उतारो because boy was struggling.
Yeah, you told me.
This was crazy. Like he came fully dressed and like halfway through realized that लज्जा थोड़ा protect करने की जरूरत नहीं, तो ये दो बटन खुले धीरे धीरे and he kept trying to flash everybody. But very energetic, like very full of like charisma.
Mm.
Loco was my surprise of the night. Like surprise. I feel like I've never seen him perform live. Like I've never watched a video or anything. I have heard his music. I've heard him talk about his music, but I've never seen a live performance, and I think I should have, because I know Loco as like a fun, sweet, shy boy.
Shy boy, yeah.
Yeah, and he came out and he was a fun, sweet, shy boy with so much like charisma. Like what happened? His stage persona was
Mm.
incredible. Like honestly, if I wasn't like incredibly Zico biased, I would be like Loco was the best of the night. JB came out, he had dancers, he was very cute. He had also like everybody came out and had like their intro meant like learned so that they could say Habibi. JB
That's
was
very
very
cute.
cute. And JB and Woogie are definitely pals. Like it was the cutest
Hmm.
where Woogie stayed on to be the DJ for JB's set as well.
Okay.
And at some point JB was sweating and Woogie came from behind his desk to like mop up his sweat, which is very cute.
That's very cute.
And of course, Zico was incredible. Man knows he's a performer. He's out there. He's smiling, charming the ladies, and being like,
Plus, his
"Yep."
music is so energetic. I think that must
And
definitely
his
add
set
to it.
list was very well crafted, is what I can
Okay.
say. Like I feel like
Hmm.
some of the others, especially like Peak Boy, like he had
Hmm.
two really hype songs, then he did a very slow song, and then it
Hmm.
brought up again.
Okay.
Um, which is fine, like that was fine, but
Hmm.
Zico's was like here throughout, like not 1 minute.
Okay.
Like he had,
Okay.
and of course Zico was the headliner, so he had a
Hmm.
longer set, and it just
Hmm.
never, you didn't get a chance to breathe. He just kept going, going, going. He had his intro meant, which lasted maybe 10 seconds. He had the shortest intro,
Hmm.
and
Okay.
just kept performing. Like he was so good.
Damn, I'm so jealous. Like,
No, it was incredible. Like I'm so glad
hmm.
that I was able to do this. I think we'd been talking about it for so long, like whether I should or shouldn't go.
Yeah, and you were
I'm
afraid to go
glad.
alone also. Like that was
Yeah,
also a thing.
I
Yeah.
was really afraid to go alone because while I am very like adept at traveling alone
Independent.
and doing things alone, but I've never been to
Hmm.
a concert alone and I didn't know what that'd be
Hmm.
like. Fortunately, there was another person next to me who was also alone, so we became pals. Who's also Army. Um,
Shout out to
Amanda,
solo
if you're
concert
watching.
goers.
Hi. But yeah, no, it was really incredible, and I met a lot of other people there who were really fun.
Hmm.
I know one, at least one of our listeners was also there, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, she messaged me later on because I like posted a reel,
Oh my
and she
god,
said
that's so
I was there
cool.
as well. I was like, I had
That,
no idea you lived here,
oh,
which is so incredible.
yeah.
Um,
So,
but
like,
yeah.
overall, what would you rate the experience as?
Oh, 12 out of 10. What do you
Okay.
mean? Like this was incredible. I feel like
Hmm.
my only issue, like major issue, was that they didn't let you bring water into the arena and you
Oh,
had to buy
really?
that
You had to
fully.
buy it.
You had
Okay.
to buy water and like
And
they'd
it'll be
even
expensive.
I mean, it was regular price.
Hmm.
It was not overpriced or anything. It was exactly the same
Hmm.
price I think you would get at a convenience store. But I just
Hmm.
don't like. I feel like water can't
Appreciate
be.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, this is this is the most common thing all festival or events do. But yeah, alternatively, you can always stand like closest to the stage and just stand like, and someone will throw water at you.
yeah, yeah. And like, I feel like that was my big issue. But other than
Hmm.
that, like, it was incredible. Like, I'm so glad
Was there
now.
food there? Did you check that out?
There is food, but like I didn't. Who had time?
Like who has time for Khan?
There were a lot of people, okay, because I was sitting right at like an intersection of an aisle. So
Hmm.
like a lot of the people moving around happened in
Hmm.
front of me.
Okay.
And there were some people who were like on the phone, walking around, and I'm like, some like, sir, like CK is
While
performing how?
it's going on, oh, that's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. Like
Oh,
some groups के बीच में there was a bigger break. Like the rows needed longer time to set up because of the instruments and everything.
okay, okay.
But like people would just be like, oh yeah, I have to like, and then they just walk in and out constantly. And I'm like, girl, why
Wow.
you like what is
Yeah,
happening?
yeah.
Yeah, and so
Maybe
like
like I'm sure there must be people who've just come to watch like one person and then they don't care about the others. Like that must also be a thing.
yeah, I think that is what did happen with this person. Like a lot of
Hmm.
people. There was another person who was sitting in the same row as me who brought their boyfriend along, who did not
Hmm.
care about any of the artists.
Like
I
when we
think
watched PTD live concert,
oh yeah, and there was a guy sitting next to us playing PUBG on
playing
his phone.
PUBG, yeah, throughout the concert in the hall.
Like, why? Um, yeah, and there's no man I love enough to bring along to this.
Yeah, no,
But
I
no,
think because especially if you look at someone like JB or the Rose, I think their audience will be very different than someone listen to Zico can listen to Loco, CK. Like that's kind of
yeah.
pretty much similar. But
Yeah, I think like Dawn and Paul Kim had a very overlapping audience.
audience. I'm assuming
Um,
Zico and Don will also have an overlapping audience because Zico takes him everywhere. Like where
oh, really?
yeah, yeah, because he's the only artist under Zico's label,
Pause. Oh,
Pause. So
okay. I didn't
wherever
know.
Zico's performing, Don is 100. Like okay, not 100, like 80% Don is definitely performing there.
Oh, I didn't know this. I've never paid attention.
Hmm.
Um, but like extremely fun fact, the next day I went to the Louvre Museum in Abu Dhabi, which is like an out like a
Hmm.
subset of the original Louvre in Paris.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm walking around and I turn and I notice that Dawn is standing next to me.
She
Like
saw
he's
Don also. You only told me about CK.
no, so, no, CK and I had the interaction, but
Oh.
so Dawn was next to me. There were two
Oh.
people from two members of P1Harmony, but I don't know their names enough to recognize like who they were. And CK and his crew. So like it was about 15-ish people who were all like they'd come on like a guided tour, and all of that. And I kept hyper freaking out because like what why and fic was I a part of? Like, what am I supposed to do? And
Yeah.
um, some people who had got to talking to while I was in the line before, they knew I was there for this concert, and they came up to me and asked me, like, "Are these the same artists?" I said, "Yes." And they were like, "Why don't you go get a photo?" And I was like, "No, because they're here being tourists." Like, what? Why wouldn't you talk to them? Um, and then I was at an exhibit, and this happens everywhere. If whenever you're taking photos, somebody else was trying to take a photo and I moved back at the same
Um,
time as them, like also moving back for me, like both of us were like, oh no, aap pehle kar lo type.
okay, okay.
And I moved back and
Mhm.
I was like, oh, I'm sorry, sorry, because I'd been walking into a lot of people's photographs that day, and I went, oh, I'm sorry, and I tried to move back, and then it was CK trying to take a photo, and he went, oh, it's okay, and I went, ah.
Did you actually scream?
Yes. Because I hadn't seen, like, I just knew there was a person next to me. I didn't know who it was. I was just like, oh, sorry, somebody's taking a photo. And it was very quick of me just like stepping back and be like, oh, sorry, go ahead. And like turning and noticing. And, ah! And then, of course, it was significantly louder than this.
To be fair, CK must be used to it.
I'm sure they're all used to it, but like
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm so sorry. And then everybody turned around to look at us because a woman screaming in a museum.
Oh yeah.
It's like
Oh
dead
Oh,
silent.
that's so
It's dead silent. Everybody's like mumble, 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 art, art, painting, painting. And then somebody going, ah!
funny. Then what did you do after that?
And I went, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I'm just and then like shuffled slightly away. And then CK was trying to be like, oh yeah, it's fine. And then he just like continued with his life while I
He's
like
like, bitches be like.
yeah, he definitely did that. Like you could tell like his there were people in his crew who realized what had happened, like that I was
Okay.
somebody who was a fan or whatever, and they started laughing, and then I got more embarrassed.
Love it.
Was so embarrassed. And then, like, I just kept standing at this one painting, waiting for all of them to leave so that I could continue. But they just would. There were like 15 people. Yeah, comment down below, and we will be back next week with a new episode. So you should make sure that you subscribe to our channel so that you can watch it when it's out. You can also like this video because come on, it was a likable video. There's a lot of content coming your way in this. We have a haul video from the
Yeah.
BTS pop up in Dubai. There is a haul video from Qco, which is a chain of East Asian store, and like merch overall. So keep an eye out for all of that if you haven't seen it already. We will be back next week with a brand new episode. See you.
Bye.